Good morning or afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Acumen's Webinar Wednesday. For today's topic, we'll be covering how to maximize your operation and finance with Fleet Cost and Care and show you how their product NexGen complements Sage 300 and Sage Intacct. Before I pass it on to FCC's Vice President, Jack Curran, I would like you to know that this webinar is in listen-only mode, and if you have any questions, then please use the chat option and we'll answer near the end of the presentation. With that said, I will now pass it on to Jack.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you everyone for taking the time to attend today or listen into this webinar. Um, as Stephen mentioned, my name is Jack Curran. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Accounts at Fleet Cost and Care. Mainly, I work with our largest customers and largest accounts. I've been with the company for about 12 years. Before that, I've worked in different startups, websites in the tech industry in the Chicago area. Now that we've kind of taken care of introductions, want to provide, this is our agenda for today. So we're going to give you an introduction overview of Fleet Cost and Care, who we are, the solutions that we offer, talk about how our operations system helps collect and process data, but then also seamlessly integrates with Sage 300 and Sage Intacct. The benefits that you're going to see by managing your fleet operations and the reporting that you'll get by using our tool, and go into a live demonstration. When we refer to the phrase or the word NexGen, that's the name of our desktop system that people in the office would typically use from their computers. We also have a mobile app that we refer to as Atom, ATOM. That's our native app for iOS and Apple. I'm sorry, iOS and Android. So we'll show some of that as well. And then we'll be on here at the line at the end for questions. So, introduction on Fleet Cost and Care. We provide operation solutions. So what we call quote to cash, as well as service and maintenance, purchasing, inventory systems for the heavy equipment rental industry. So that could be cranes, rigging equipment, hoisting, environmental cleanup, trucks, trailers, concrete pumping, things like that, that typically we either have an operator with it or it could be just what we call a bare rental. So it's just the equipment, and it's for companies of all sizes. So when you piece together or implement our system along with a system like Sage 300, Sage Intacct, it really creates a full ERP, enterprise resource planning system. And what we offer to our customers who are typically either coming to us from, maybe they're using paper or whiteboards or Google Sheets or maybe different systems in different departments. What we try to do is provide a comprehensive solution that handles all of the different departmental needs on the front end for the operations. So, we talked about could be sales and quoting, scheduling and dispatch, field services, what the employees in the field need to access, and the data that they're collecting, and then how that flows back into the office for people to create invoices and send that out to the customer, approve payroll and process payroll, as well as your internal costs for your equipment cost, your allocated cost to run that equipment, as well as purchase you're making to service the equipment for parts, for things like that. So what we do is we eliminate the need for standalone systems, so different systems that don't talk to one another, or systems that rely on paper. So we provide, we eliminate the need for duplicate data entry from those different standalone systems. We also provide kind of a baseline centralized place for you guys to be able to access your information in real time, whether that's from a computer, the phone, tablet, you're in the shop, you're in the yard, you're on the job site, you're accessing real-time information, whatever department you're in. You're able to make more quick, informed decisions because you have that data readily available. And then also because we're tracking all of your information, your revenue, your expenses, your utilization, all in one system, we can provide really comprehensive reporting. And of course, it's not just about tracking your revenue and getting the most profitability out of each job and each piece of equipment, but it's also about minimizing your risk. So it's about we help track certification requirements of your equipment and your personnel. We make sure you're getting those job site safety checklists done and tracking that in real time. We're showing how you can capture job site signatures, so you're transferring that risk and liability, that your equipment's properly maintained. And then we also have a team behind us that we help with our customers. A lot of us have worked in the industry, and worked with hundreds of different companies doing the same different types of operations that you guys are doing. So we can provide that support, that consulting, that experience as being a full partner, not just a software system, but a partner in the industry. So how the integration works. So from our program, from NexGen, I mentioned before, you're going to create your invoices and then you export that to Sage 300 or Intacct. You also create your purchase orders in our system. So your costs are going to be tracked either back to the piece of equipment for a repair, or perhaps it's a job related cost like a police escort or re-rent of equipment. You're going to create that PO, the receiver, the voucher, the payable invoice, and then also export that to Sage. And then on the payroll side as well, whether if you're doing payroll within Sage 300 or if you're using Intacct, maybe you have a different account payroll system like ADP or Paychex, you're still capturing your labor costs, you're processing it, you're applying your payroll rules if you're union or non-union. So then that's also being exported from our system. So it doesn't have to be rekeyed at all. The benefits of this, of course, are you're saving time. There's no duplicate data entry. The data is accurate across both systems. Now, the financial data will stay in Sage. The operational data will be in our system, like your down renting, your utilization, your sales and forecasting type of reporting. And what makes the benefits of our partnership unique? Well, in my mind, first off, say Acumen is the Sage partner for our company, so both fleet cost and care and our crane rental business. So we love working with them. We can personally vouch for them, of course. And also we have a close working relationship with a lot of our mutual customers. Some of our customers have gone through dual implementations, so they're switching over to Sage and fleet cost and care at the same time. We've also helped current fleet cost and care customers switch over to Sage 300 or Sage Intacct from whatever system they were using before. And really, that's unique because we don't really have other companies in that way that we work that closely with in terms of an accounting partner. Stephen, did you want to kind of maybe jump in on some of this? I think was this a slide that you wanted to make some comments on?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Thanks, Jack. So there's a lot to unpack with our next-gen integration with Sage Intacct. For over a decade, Acumen's development team has partnered with Fleet Cost and Care to develop connectors for Sage 300 and Sage Intacct. As you can see, we have many integration features that we would like to highlight. First, the bidirectional synchronization keeps customers and vendor information consistent between both platforms. As you move down, you may notice that NexGen and Sage automates critical workflows such as job and unit management, and key details like jobs, units, and sales representatives are automatically created in Sage to ensure a seamless flow between systems. Additionally, NexGen simplifies back office operations by automatically transferring invoices to Sage Intacct and sending payment details back to NexGen. This not only saves time, but also improves cash flow by reducing the need for manual data entry. One of the biggest benefits of the integration is how it makes financial reporting easier. Sage Intacct uses dimensional accounting, which allows you to structure accounts in a flexible, straightforward way. Instead of managing a complex chart of accounts, dimensional accounting enables you to generate detailed reports without the hassle. So thanks to the NexGen integration, Sage Intacct automatically gathers details like crane, truck, and job numbers from NexGen, and this enables you to create profitability reports on specific units or financial statements comparing jobs and customers. All this happens behind the scenes, making your financial analysis much smoother and more insightful. So whether you're using Fleet Cost and Care or have been using it for years, the NexGen and Sage integration will improve your operations, financial management, and reporting.
That was great. Thank you. Very, like I said, we have an integration with other accounting systems, but not to this level. Typically, we're not able to pull data like a vendor or a customer due balances it back into our system. There's also limitations, and with other ways, we find that this is really the best full solution on for our customers and of course for our own company. Um, One of the things too that's also a bit unique is we've developed Power BI reports that pull data from both of our databases, so we can do even more reporting and dashboards about account due balances, how well you're doing collection wise, your KPIs, what you can do to in terms of improving on your baseline of collections and identifying, what's being written off, customers who are better or worse about paying, and of course reducing errors, increasing visibility across your financial operations because um, some people might reside only in Sage, some people might only be using our system, but of course, like I said, whatever access system you're using, you're getting the reporting and the data you need in order to do your jobs and not have to chase around or search for information. So at this point, I'm going to go into our NexGen system. I talked about, the different modules or the different departments, functions within our program that could be run. I didn't want to um, get too detailed for today, but I wanted to show what we call the quote to cash workflow. So that's really going to be from a quote standpoint to then converting that to a job, seeing what resources you have available to complete that reservation and make sure you are putting the right equipment, the right personnel on that job. And then when that job actually does come, when that day is coming, how you send out an electronic ticket to that field, to that crew. That crew is then going to complete that ticket, and then how that ticket gets reviewed, approved, and turned into an invoice, and then exported to Sage. We can also have some reporting that we can touch on. So we're not going to get into the maintenance. We're not going to get into what we call work orders, where a mechanic is complete service on a piece of equipment, or we're not going to get into purchasing. But if you do have questions or interest, be happy to set up a one-on-one demo to go over those items. Also got some Power BI reports that I think could be relevant to everyone here. So I could spend a whole lot of time just getting into the details of quoting. I'm not going to do that today. What I am going to show is a quote that's already built within our program. And, I think as Stephen mentioned too, when you add a new customer into our system, it syncs up with Sage. So that customer record will then be added to Sage. So there's no potential of having people, enter it in one way and then enter it in differently. And then those records don't match. So they are synced up. This is my company. This is my department and my yard that I'm scheduling this out of, the job site that I'm going to for this work, the date of the job I have today, the description of work, the scope of work that we're going to be completing as part of this job. The unit and people tab, this allows you to start putting in types of equipment or personnel that you believe you're going to need for this job. So have right here I have a mobile crane, the 275-ton all-terrain with an operator and oiler. I've got a truck and a trailer, as well as an employee called like a rigger, who also is going to assist the crane and drive the truck there with the equipment that's also going to go out with the crane. I also have some billing codes here populated of what the customer is going to sign off on or expect to be billed. And I'm going to leave these other tabs alone. These are just other items regarding this opportunity, more information that you can keep track of, like profit forecasting or tracking responsibility of certain aspects of the job, what's the customer is required to do, what the customer is required to do. I'm going to keep this, like I said, fairly simple. And from here, you can create a PDF of what this quote could look like. This is what you're going to email over to the customer. We also integrate with DocuSign if you use that program. So the description of work, as we showed, the billing codes, and you choose how much detail you really want to show the customer. Clarifications about the job, terms and conditions that they're going to sign off on before, as approving this work that they're requesting. So it's just an example of what the quote could look like. Now, you take a breath here. You're going to say, now the customer has approved this job. You're going to click convert job up here at the top. It's going to put this into a reservation. I've already done some of the work here with the job where I have the job schedule screen now. So this is that same job that I quoted, has the same information, so it doesn't have to be rekeyed at all when it goes from an opportunity to an actual job. When you hit save, you got a job number that's generated. The status is tentative. And if I go to the resource tab, this is where I'm going to go in and assign who's actually working and what equipment are actually going to go on this job. So I've already gone in and assigned the truck, the trailer, and the rigger here, but I still need to say what crane is going to go out to fulfill this order. So what I'm going to do is click on the check resource availability button, and it's going to show me the equipment in my fleet that could be sent out as a 275-ton all-terrain. So it looks like I have AT11 here available, checking these particular dates in this particular yard. Like I said before, too, it can also filter out by certification requirement, making sure that it's got the right inspections completed, things like that. If the 275 was already on a job, I could down rent my 450 or my 350. Select that unit. I'm going to do the same thing with the operator. I see the operator I'm looking for. His name actually does not appear here. I'm looking for my name. That means I'm already booked on another job. But I can just type in my name. And when I click save, it's going to warn me that I've double booked myself. I can override that. Things happen. I'm going to assign a oiler to this job as well. So now, as you see, there's kind of like a parent-child relationship. These two employees are assigned to this specific crane. I'm going to hit save. It's giving me a warning that there is a conflict. Like I said, I can still move forward. It's letting me know, hey, this person doesn't have the right certification to run this particular piece of equipment. So maybe I need to talk to him about getting that certification updated, or maybe I need to take him off the job. In this case, saying he's going to get that certification updated, and now we are confirmed on this job. And take another pause here. This is now the job is basically ready to go. We know we have who's going to work on this. It's confirmed with the customer. A dispatcher might be looking at something like this on a regular basis. This is a weekly graph, a weekly schedule. So what I can see here is this particular job. This is the equipment that's assigned to it. Who the employees assigned to this crane are. I see that it's a 2-day job here. I can see again a weekly a weekly view, a daily view, a monthly. I can filter or sort by different information here. In a typical world, the dispatcher, once he's taken care of his responsibilities in the morning, making sure all the equipment has arrived on time, that his crews have arrived on time, he's probably going to be looking out to the schedule for tomorrow. So let's say I'm a dispatcher. Today is the 4th, just pretend. And I'm looking at the 5th. I'm saying, okay, our schedule now is set for tomorrow. It's in the afternoon. I'm going to go out and send the electronic tickets to the crews so that they know where they're going tomorrow. They're having that information sent to their device. And then I can also track the status of those tickets. So as you can kind of see here, I've got this unit selected. This is with the employees assigned to this piece of equipment. I'm going to click generate LEM. So now this is showing me who is assigned to this job on this particular day. The primary employee, he is in charge of getting the job site signatures done and the checklists, the inspections, the equipment or job site inspections completed. The other employees on this job, they get a ticket sent to them. They don't have to complete those other items. It just gives them the information about the job. And now they can change their labor as well. If they have to go to another job early, they can adjust their labor, but otherwise it's going to default to the labor that is put in by the primary employee. So I'm going to hit OK. The ticket's been successfully generated. That employee, they have the app downloaded to their device. They're going to get a notification just like any other banner app, banner notification. When your fantasy football team scores a touchdown, you get a notification just like that. It's going to show up on their device. It's going to tell them, open up, download your ticket. So I can actually also see the status of these e-tickets here. So as a dispatcher, I know when it's been sent. It's also going to update every 2 minutes. There's a little countdown clock. It'll let me know when it's been viewed and then downloaded. And then on the day of the job, it's going to say started, left yard, then arrived at job, first signature, second signature, left job, arrived at yard, and completed. So it's important to be able to tell these steps from the office because one, you can verify that your team has arrived on time, and two, that they've gotten their checklist done and their signatures captured. So that's really important for insurance reasons that they transfer that liability. You know, if people are doing it on paper right now, you're not able to verify that they did that. And if there is an accident and they haven't signed it, they're not going to sign it at that point. And we've seen some really, bit major problems happen for crane companies or other equipment companies that have not gotten signatures before starting work. So this is just a way to make sure your company is protecting itself and your employees are protected as well by getting those job site signatures done before starting work. So now at this point, I'm going to pause. I'm going to now show the perspective of that foreman, of that operator, of that primary employee in the field. So I'm going to switch over to my tablet here. Adam, is this app? It's you download it like any other app. It knows who I am when I log in. So I have administrative rights. I can see everything within the program. But as an operator, you set up the system so they only have access to the information they need to see. An operator typically doesn't need to see customer information, so they don't even see these icons. What they can see are their tickets up here. They can see their labor, so they can make sure their paycheck matches up with the labor they've entered in from their tickets or work orders. They can also track their own certifications. They need to show the customer or keep track of when they might be expiring. Just going to focus right here on this LEM ticket. There's a little red dot with a 1. Lets me know I've got a new ticket sitting here waiting for me. We're going to look just at this one right here for the 5th. At this point, again, usually the employees, this is the day before the job, but they've already have that ticket waiting for them. So they're going to click on it. And now it's downloading to their device. So they can go to an area where they don't have any Wi-Fi or cellular signal, like a wind farm or a factory or, oil field. They can still complete this ticket without any issues. When they reconnect to a signal, it'll upload back then at that point. If I scroll down, it's going to tell me what I'm doing today, what equipment and personnel I have on this ticket with me, places for comments, job site signatures, the timestamps that will be used for both invoicing and payroll. That information is kind of siloed, but it's still there to compare. The terms and conditions that the customer is going to sign off on the job site, that you've transferred that liability. So now on the day of the job in the morning, this is time when they're starting their day. They're going to hit start ticket. Now, by clicking start time, they are on the clock. This is time they're getting paid for. The little start time button has been time has been entered there. The next step is always up in the top left-hand corner. It's very step-driven, minimal typing. If I try to say I've left the yard, it's actually not going to let me. And that's because I have a checklist that is defaulted to this crane. Every time AT11 goes out on a job, it needs to have this inspection done before it leaves the yard. So the operator will go through and check off each of these items as they're inspecting them. If they see an issue, they can flag that as a deficiency. It then requires them to type in comments. They can take a picture of it. This would go to a service manager's dashboard or queue where they could determine if a work order needs to be created to repair this. But that way, again, you're seeing through that it's being resolved. So now I've completed this checklist here. I can go back to my ticket. I can mark left yard. And I'll just add that timestamp down here. Leaving the yard, driving to the job site. It might take a half hour. It might take several hours. When I do arrive, I pull my phone or my tablet back out. I click the Arrive Job button. I go to John Smith at Lansing Steel Services. I click check signer's name. I verify that is the right person. He, with his finger, clicks the Accept Terms and Conditions button. And then they sign it. Sign it with their finger right here. It's accepted. It's saved to this. If I switch back over to NexGen, there's a little countdown clock every 2 minutes. I'm going to click view. It's going to now say first signature. So now as a dispatcher, I can go about the rest of my day. As an owner of the company, I don't have to worry that people have gotten their signatures. I can verify that they have. Going back to the ticket, let's say we have another checklist here. So this is like after arriving on the job site, you want to go through a site safety checklist. Make sure there's no overhead power lines and the ground conditions are good. You might also go through like a safety training that then you want your team to sign off that they completed. You could have your own team sign off that yes, I did this, I completed this training here. So these are modifiable. You can make these checklists whatever you want. Now, we're doing our work throughout the day. Maybe it's a quick job, maybe it's 4 hours, maybe it's 10 hours. Whatever time that is, you're completing your work. You might say at some point, I got to type in some comments. I'm going to say send fuel truck. You're then going to sign out. Signer's name, it could be the same person, could be no one. You might have to say NA. Really getting that first signature is the key though. But it is, I'm going to say John Smith is there to sign out. But before I have him sign out, I'm going to indicate I did work through lunch, of course, as usual. She could pay it extra for that. I'm going to leave the job, drive back to the yard. When I'm back at the yard, I'm going to take my phone or tablet back out, click arrived at yard. And then before I can hit stop time, I'm going to go back to my final checklist. So this is just a quick reminder, fuel up the unit, return the keys, report any issues, no issues. So I'm going to say everything is good. Now I can hit stop time and I'm either done for the day or maybe I'm doing work at the yard. Maybe I'm going to another job, but at this point, this ticket is completed. Before I mark it complete, I am going to show real quick this labor and unit details tab. So this allows you to see, your labor that you're going to get paid for. Now we have 15-minute rounding turned on, and I did this ticket very quickly, so there's 0 time. I do have ways to making adjustments or adding that, I worked different shifts, or I should get a craft modifier applied for a higher pay rate. There's other fields that I've turned off in this instance, but this is again where you're going to verify how much you should get or how much time you're getting paid for. You can also put in the engine hours and the mileage for the unit here, so you can keep track of that for preventative maintenance purposes. We also integrate with GPS systems, but if you don't have that, this is really the next best option. So at this point, I'm going to say this ticket is completed. Now, what that does is it indicates to the people in the office that this ticket is now ready to be reviewed and approved. And like you see here, the little countdown clock has ended. Now it is completed. So that means the job is ongoing, but you're still going to want to review and approve the tickets. There are tickets that your completed tickets appear on here on this queue for someone to review and approve. So I saw that this actually, your start time and end time from these tickets calculated in here. So that's more of your payroll time, but your left yard and arriving back at the yard time is going to show here under the elapsed time. So what you're going to do is enter how much time you want to bill for this particular ticket. In this case, or this day, this job, I put in 8 hours of straight time. And then I mark the ticket as approved. When they are ready to be invoiced, someone will indicate the e-ticket status now is job finished, ready to invoice. So then that billing person is going to multi-select the tickets for that job, and it's going to add up the time that was elapsed. So if it was 1 day, if it was 5 days, if it was 10 days, it'll add up all the time here that was elapsed from these tickets, as well as the hours you put over here to bill, if there's overtime or double time included. And then you're going to click create invoice. And so what that does now is going to bring you back to that invoice screen. So it pulls this up. Now this is where it kind of comes full circle. So I've put in the PO number here because that was required at this point. The details tab is going to pull over from that quote. So it's going to show you what you expect to bill, what the quantity still open is, because I haven't billed anything out yet. It's going to show me under the e-tickets tab, and I can pop this window out. Um, if I need to, if I had, like I said, more than one ticket, it would give me the total elapsed actual time down here, as well as the hours I put over here to bill. Nothing under the invoice history. I haven't invoiced anything yet. At some point, before we started this, I put in a comment, crane broke down for 2 hours. So maybe I say, didn't bill for 2 hours. There's no purchase orders to this job, but if I did incur a cost like a permit or a re-rent or something like that, that would also show up here. So it gives you an opportunity to then add that cost to the invoice if you need to, so you're not eating that cost. So what I'm going to do now is put in the actual amount of time I want to bill for. So I'm going to say I'm billing for 16 hours, and it's going to credit the revenue back to this particular unit too, so I can see how much money each piece of equipment is making. It's tracking the mobilization of the cartridge back to the truck. Permit, traffic control. Now I'm going to hit save. At this point, I can create a PDF of that invoice. So now gives you an opportunity to again confirm that this is the invoice you want to send to the customers. There can be different approval levels, like if you want to have a sales manager or someone review first before it gets sent out to the customer. Otherwise, I'm going to say this looks good to go. When I do email it, it can include the e-tickets with it. Some customers might require that. So I click email, I send this invoice to the customer. And then when I am ready to do the export to Sage Intacct or 300, which you might not do on a daily basis, of course, you want to probably do those maybe more on a weekly basis, but they're going to be teed up here in this queue under export invoices. So these are your invoices that you've created during that period of time that have been approved and ready to be exported. You can select it individually or select all. And then I hit OK. And now at this point, it's going to push this information over to Sage. And it locks it in our program. You can't make changes to the invoice. Um, I did want to show just one or two reports that I thought could be relevant, and then we can kind of take questions. We have a number of we have hundreds of reports within our system, but we also use a tool called Microsoft Power BI. So in this case, this can pull over like AR balance by age or by customer. And it's interactive, of course. I can drill down. So this is where we have, a close working relationship where we've helped develop reports that pull data from both of our databases, so our customers have all the information they need. This is an example of a job profit loss report. So I talked about before, your job revenue, how you're tracking that in our system, and all of your invoices can be viewed for this particular job. Your material expenses, so any POs you track back to the job, your equipment expenses that you allocate within our system, and then your labor expenses, which we are capturing, processing. I didn't show any labor processing in this demo, but this is where you're going to track your labor costs, and then gives you a sense of, hey, is this a good job? How are we doing in real time? Do we want to go out and do more work with this customer, repeat these types of jobs that we're seeing a lot of profit here, or do we want to stay away from these? And then even away from the financial side of things, your equipment utilization. You're busy, or are you maximizing your revenue potentially? I mean, what equipment is sitting here or idle or down because of repairs? What equipment might be time to retire because it's not meeting your goals in terms of revenue or hours rented each month? So these are things, and then also your job revenue forecasting, because again, we're capturing that estimated revenue for all of your jobs and your billing within the system, but how is your forecast looking? How are you looking out into the next coming months? Do you have a lot of jobs lined up? This is your estimated billing for next month. And how much of your jobs come in within a quick turnaround? You can get a sense of, are we financially in a good place where we can buy some more equipment, or do we need to tighten things down? And when is our busy season going to be, and when are things going to slow down? So we now have all this, like I said, operational and financial data all together in one system. Going to just kind of turn it back on now. for the last part and take any questions that might be coming in.
Perfect. Thanks, Jack. So at this time, we'll open up the chat option. Please write your question in the chat or the Q&A. We'll read them out loud and answer. There was a few that came in, starting with, is the functionality the same or similar if I have Sage 300 or Sage Intacct?
So from our perspective, because you're in our system, there's not much difference in terms of how our system works within the different integrations. For both Sage 300 and Intacct, we can pull over that customer due balance information. Now, certain other information is synced up, like the job information can be synced with Sage Intacct. Typically, with Sage 300, we're only sending over the final transaction. So there's slight differences, but in terms of how you use our program, there really isn't so much. But also, with an open API with a web-based system, there can be a better transfer of data. But for the most part, it's similar, very similar experience from our program.
Perfect. Another one that came in, it says, can your solution be installed in-house or is it hosted in the cloud?
So right now we have both of those options. It can either be an on-premise hosting, I'm sorry, installed on-premise or in a cloud. We've worked with different. We have a preferred partner. If you would like us to be kind of a one-stop shop in that area, or you can choose your own cloud hosting partner. If it's someone local, or if it's a Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services, something like that, there's different options for our customers to determine what works best for you.
Gotcha. And then this one came in. It says, are Sage OE invoices imported to FCC? If so, how? And is it automatically or manually?
So the invoices are created in NexGen and then exported to Sage. So I'm not sure exactly if hopefully that answers our question, but we typically don't import data. Now there could be some purchasing data that we pull in from different systems. We've done that before. If you have a certain cost, if you're tracking purchasing maybe by your employees, uh, they might use a different system. We can still pull in that data and create purchase orders for it from that. But in terms of invoices, they are created in NexGen and then sent to Sage.
Thanks, Jack. And I'll have my account manager reach out to them too as well. And then last question looks like that came in. It says, are there any limitations if you run multiple companies within Sage?
No, there are not. So that's a common situation with our customers. A lot of times they might be they might have multiple companies and they might share resources amongst those companies. Perhaps they've made acquisitions, where they have a company in one state and then another company, a similar company in another state that are under different entities. But within our program, you can either, easily toggle between or which company you are scheduling out of or which company you're quoting out of. But if you're sharing resources, like, there's a job that's assigned for one company, but they are going to pull equipment or personnel from that other company, we can do that very easily within our program. And that's because Sage also allows for multiple companies to be within their database and match that up. Other systems that are single database, accounting systems where you don't have multiple companies set up, that creates a real limitation in our program as well in terms of sharing resources. But because Sage is able to handle that, we're able to match that, and it makes it very easy if you're ever doing intercompany billing or sharing resources between your multiple companies to perform a job.
Perfect. Thanks, Jack. It looks like that's all the questions that came in, so I'll go ahead and wrap up. So thank you guys all for joining us today. I would like to say thank you to Jack for the great presentation and then the live demonstration of NexGen. If you do have any additional questions, please contact your assigned account manager or email us at am@acumenfl.com. We hope to see you guys on our next session, and we hope you guys have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.